The Mark V Toyota Supra is one of the best sports cars that you can buy right now, and I know because I had one, but I sold it. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you why everyone else is doing the same exact thing. Now, I owned my Supra for almost 2 years, and while it was by far the best car I've ever owned, it didn't come without its issues. Even more so, what I traded my Toyota Supra in for was a car that was sort of similar yet different in so many ways. Since the partnership between Toyota and BMW coming together was announced back in 2019, it was controversial to say the least. And yes, I said BMW because if you didn't know, the Toyota Supra is pretty much just a rebranded Z4 with a JDM body kit. And a lot of people don't understand just how much BMW is actually in the Toyota Supra. I can say from firsthand experience that at least 95%, if not 100% of the car is made in Germany. Well, Austria technically, but you get what I mean. But over the past 5 years, we've grown to realize that this isn't a bad thing. BMW makes some great sports cars, and although the 5th generation Toyota Supra isn't true to its JDM roots, man, it's a damn good car. And over the time I owned my Supra, I did so many mods on it. Obviously, I added a catless downpipe and an E85 tune that made it push 500 horsepower to the rear wheels, and I didn't forget those overnight parts from Japan when I added an HKS exhaust and some raised wheels. Other things like an air intake, an underhood strut brace, and a few cosmetic mods were also on the list. And who could forget the biggest and best one of them all, a Street Hunter carbon fiber rear wing. Now you're probably listening to this and wondering, why on earth would you sell that car? And this brings me to the issues that I had with the Toyota Supra. Now when I say issues, I don't mean that it was unreliable by any means, because in fact, it was a very reliable car. The B58 engine is probably the most reliable German engine of all time, which is why Toyota handpicked it from BMW's lineup to be put in the Mark V Supra. But there's just something that people don't tell you about daily driving a 3,400 pound, 500 horsepower, rear wheel drive, 2-seater sports car. While the car was fun as heck, one problem was practicality. During a trip to Target or Walmart, I'd sometimes forget how small my trunk was, and I'd have to call someone to come help me. Yes, this happened to me on at least 2 occasions. The trunk is big enough for groceries, but anything more than that and you might run into some issues. And if you're bringing a friend to the airport, then tell them to pack light, because the trunk really only fits one large suitcase. Different from the Mark IV Toyota Supra that we all know and love, the Mark V is a true 2-seater, which means it doesn't have back seats. So anything like a gym bag or a sweatshirt would have to be thrown in the trunk if you had a passenger. This made things like changing the wheels and tires almost impossible unless I had a second car or I did it at home, which I didn't, and I also don't live in a tire shop. Speaking about wheels and tires, one of the major problems with the A90 Supra has to do with traction. You see, while most people build these cars for drag racing, the high torque of the B58 makes it easy to spin your wheels or just to spin out. This means that 500 horsepower that you get from just bolt-ons makes it hard for the car to grip the road without a really good tire. And I ran Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's all the time, and I still had problems. I know a few people who daily drive with drag tires on just to get the grip they need, which obviously isn't good if you ever plan to drive in the rain. And even when you do grip the road, one of the weakest points of the car, which happens to be the axles, are extremely weak and tend to snap in half, which means that unless you upgrade them, it's a lose-lose situation. Either you have no traction or you grip and break an axle. Now with all that being said, you might think it's not that bad, but imagine doing this in the winter while trying to get to work in a snowstorm and you only have one car. And I would have gotten another car, but I'm sure you guys know how used car prices have been for the past 4 years. Somebody tried to get me to pay 8 grand for an NA Mazda Miata. Yeah, there's no shot. So what did I replace my Toyota Supra with? Well, if you watch my shorts or if you follow me on Instagram, you'd see that I now own a BMW M340i, which is literally a 4-door all-wheel drive Toyota Supra. They both share the same engine with the B58, and they're similar in more ways than you think. Owning an M340 might seem like a step in the wrong direction, but in reality, it allowed me to drive my fun car year-round while still doing all the modifying and tuning that my heart so graciously desires. But does that mean I don't miss my Supra? Well, of course I do. That car looked like a coupe from outer space, and it's way better looking than anything BMW is making right now. It was more fun than my current car, and it definitely got more attention as well. Having the Supra name, it's hard to not be a cool car, but I think the M340 is just a car that I'd rather live with every day. It's heavier, but it's just as fast, more practical, and easier to live with year round. So did I make the right decision? Well, honestly, I wish I would have kept that car a little bit longer, but I probably would have sold it eventually anyways for an M340 or even a G80 M3, which hopefully will be my next car, unless I decide to go a different route. And I don't think I'm alone when I do this. I constantly see people all over social media selling their Supras for cars like G80 M3s, M4s, M2s, but I think it's safe to say that the Supra made a lot of JDM guys fall in love with BMW. But as always, I want to hear what you guys think. Would you have sold your Supra for the same reasons that I did? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, be sure to subscribe for a new video every Friday and shorts throughout the week. My name is Ryan, this is Gears and Gains, and I'll see you in the next one.